You're the fixer, the group's oracle, the unpaid therapist. When your friends are on the edge of a breakdown, your phone is the one that rings, and you pick up every time. You have this almost surgical ability to dissect their trauma, map the fault lines of their Freudian past, and deliver the perfect solution with a precision nobody asked for and everyone accepts. You see their lives in 4K. But when you look in the mirror, the resolution drops to 144p. Static, noise. Your own career is stagnant. Your relationships are shallow or non-existent. You know exactly what your friend should do to get out of that toxic relationship, but you can't decide what to have for dinner without an existential crisis. The question isn't why you fail at your own life. It's why you'd rather not know the answer. The convenient narrative is that you do this out of empathy, because you're a good person. It comes with a moral medal attached. Look how I sacrifice myself. Look how I carry the weight of the world. Excessive empathy is, more often than not, anxiety in a tuxedo. Not a moral judgment, a mechanical description. Two thinkers here: a scientist, a Danish philosopher who offers no way out, only diagnosis. The Solomon paradox explains why clarity about other people's lives works with such precision. Kierkegaard explains why you never apply any of it to your own. The distinction matters. It's not inability, it's structural preference. If you understand everything about human existence and still can't get through an ordinary Tuesday without feeling like a fraud, this episode won't fix anything, but it will name the mechanism with surgical precision. Science goes first, not to relieve the guilt, but to name the mechanism. Researchers Igor Grossman and Ethan Kross studied this extensively and named it the Solomon paradox, inspired, of course, by the biblical King Solomon, the man who, according to legend, was sought by rulers from across the world for his divine wisdom, but who, in his private life, was an impulsive wreck who failed to manage his own household and kingdom. What Grossman found wasn't simply that people are worse at solving their own problems. It's that the cognitive mechanism changes. When the problem belongs to someone else, what they call wise reasoning kicks in. Seeking compromise, considering multiple perspectives, acknowledging the limits of knowledge, distance. But when the problem is your own, a failure of self-transcendence occurs. The threat is immediate. The logic is direct. When you advise someone on their divorce and it goes wrong, that's unfortunate. But the emotional bill isn't yours. You go home and sleep. That keeps your prefrontal cortex clean, logical, sharp. When it's your life, fear floods the system. The amygdala hijacks the reasoning. The clarity disappears because the risk is real. But here's where it turns. The Solomon paradox explains the inability to solve your own problems. It does not explain the obsessive enthusiasm for solving everyone else's. Why are hours, days, years spent focused on other people's chaos? This is where modern psychology ends and existential philosophy begins. Warning: Kierkegaard is not as gentle as the scientists. Soren Kierkegaard, the father of modern anxiety, described modes of living. The first and most seductive is the aesthetic. We often think of the aesthete as the hedonist, the one who chases pleasure. But for Kierkegaard, the defining characteristic of the aesthetic mode is being a spectator. The spectator is the one who turns reality into theater. You, the therapist friend, are the supreme spectator. You see your friend's drama with the narcissistic boyfriend not just as a problem to be solved, but as a case. It's intellectually stimulating. You analyze the patterns, you predict the outcomes. You feel intelligent, useful, and above all, superior. Kierkegaard said it's possible to build a palace of ideas and live in a doghouse next to it. You construct elaborate theories about love, about careers, about emotional healing for other people. That's the palace. But in practice, you live in an emotional doghouse. You apply none of it. Why? Because to apply it, you'd have to stop being a spectator and become a participant. The spectator stands on the balcony. It's safe. They don't get wet, they don't get dirty, they judge. The participant is in the mud. They make decisions. And making decisions is the most terrifying thing there is, because every choice is a loss. Every choice carries the possibility of irreversible regret. While you're busy fixing your friend's life, you are unconsciously buying time. You're using the complexity of their chaos as high-minded distraction, so you don't have to look at the void of your own inertia. It's a sophisticated form of existential procrastination. I can't focus on my own life right now. Anna needs me. Wrong. Anna would survive without you. You're the one who needs Anna's crisis to avoid facing your own terrifying ordinariness. The Good Samaritan mask doesn't cover everything. There is a perverse pleasure in being your friend's therapist. When someone comes to you, fragile, crying, confused, and you're there, calm, analytical, holding it all together, there's a power dynamic at play. You're the one still standing. And being the one still standing when everything around you has collapsed has a flavor that isn't exactly altruism. This feeds a deep intellectual vanity. It validates the identity of the one who understands. If you solved your own problems, you'd become just another ordinary person. But if you're the keeper of everyone else's secrets and pain, you become necessary. And necessary is the closest thing to safe. It's addictive. The therapist friend often surrounds themselves with chaotic people, deliberately. If all your friends became emotionally healthy tomorrow, who would you be? You'd feel exposed. Kierkegaard argued that the leap into genuine existence demands passion, demands risk. The analyst is passionless. They dissect life but never swallow it. You trade the vulnerability of real intimacy for the safety of clinical analysis. Your friends love your advice, but do they know you, or do they know your service? You feel lonely, even surrounded by people who adore you. Of course you do. The analyst has no body, only a function. Up to this point, the diagnosis has been functional, mechanical, clean. And you've probably been following along with the same ease you follow everything, from above, with a clear view, no turbulence, which is, in itself, information. Because there's a simple test that reveals where choice ends and structure begins. Think about the last time someone tried to do for you what you do for everyone else. Who called late asking about your life. Who asked genuinely, without accepting a vague answer, how you were doing. What happened? You redirected, minimized, turned the question into a conversation about them, or answered in a way that closed the subject before it got uncomfortable. Not out of politeness, not out of modesty, because the mechanism has no entry door, only an exit. You built a system perfectly optimized to process other people's pain. And that same system treats your own pain as noise to be managed. Not felt, managed. The episode 4 called this the blackout. Functional alexithymia. Not the inability to feel, but the inability to let the feeling do anything. Here, the blackout has a fixed address, a social function, an audience. And the audience applauds. That's what makes it so hard to see. The system has been externally validated with such consistency that the distinction between identity and defense mechanism has disappeared. You're not using the distance, You are the distance. Structural preferences don't change through awareness. They change, when they change, through cost. It's 12:40. The phone is on the table, screen facing down. She's doing better. You know this with the same certainty you know the temperature of a room without looking at the thermometer. You read every pause, calibrated every response. She got off the call more stable than she got on. The silence is still clean. Except now you notice, for the first time, or for the 100th time without registering it, that the unread message is 3 days old, that the conversation has been postponed 4 times, that the weight exists somewhere in the background, and that you know exactly how to name it when it belongs to someone else. You pick up the phone, open WhatsApp, start typing a follow-up for her. There's no contradiction here you need to resolve, just the system doing exactly what it was built to do. What if the person on the other end were doing the same thing, with the right words, the right tone, the right pause, and also wasn't there? That also has a name. You just spent 11 minutes watching someone who is very good at seeing everything, except themselves. There's a button below this. I'm curious which kind of watcher you are.